Hi, I'm Karen. We're here at Montavilla Sewing Center, and today we're talking about the Baby Lock Verve. In this video, we're going to talk about the settings menu. Now over here, you push this button and it gets you right into the settings. To start with, the first one is width control. Now width control, if you turn that on, now instead of this speed slider, as you move this, you can do a zigzag and taper it just like this. As you're sewing, you would move that along. So pretty nice feature. Most of the time though, we're going to have that off. Now, fine vertical adjustment has to do with your decorative stitches. If you have a decorative stitch that, say, you're sewing sort of a unusual fabric and your decorative stitch looks either stretched out or compressed, you can go into settings and change that by moving these plus or minus buttons. Twin needle, if you have that on, your machine is calibrated so that it will not make too wide of a stitch when you do twin needle. That's where you would use two separate spools of thread and you'd put the needle in that comes with your machine. And this keeps you from stitching too wide of a stitch that might touch one or the other side of your needle plate or of your foot. Now, this machine is calibrated for this size of needle, not for a wider needle like this. So make sure that you use, if you get a new twin needle, that you get one that's the same width apart like that. Okay, so that's what twin needle is. Now, let's move to the next page. We push that button there. Initial position has to do with whether your needle's in the center or off to the side. I'm going to go back for a minute. I want to just make sure that's off. That is okay. Twin needle, we want to have that off. There we go. Okay, so the initial position, that means when you turn on your machine, yes, I'm going to have it in the center as opposed to off to the side. Okay, now embroidery. Now this is where it starts to get into embroidery. If we had the embroidery unit on and we pressed this button, it would immediately get to page 3 because the sewing side wouldn't really apply. With this, it shows you, and it's got two different settings here. Right now, it's set for the 4x4 frame, which is this frame here, the frame that comes with your machine. You can also buy a smaller frame like this, and if you push the button, you can show what that looks like there. So that's that would limit you to only the designs that are built into your machine that would fit in this frame. So I'm going to leave it at 4x4 for now. And then here is a really nice feature. You can scroll through these. If you're editing your embroidery designs or you're placing them in a certain way, this one, by the way, this grid is really nice for if you have like 3 different embroidery designs or repeat of a design and you want to put them just in the right place in relation to each other or in relation to the center of your fabric there. So that's embroidery frame display, and let's go forward. Here is where you have the either name or number. So name of color or number of color. You can change that depending on what you want. And again, it's with your embroidery edit. Now, this is your different brands of thread. Now, it doesn't include every brand in the world, but it does include a lot of the popular ones. Now, if your brand of thread that you're using, say Floriani, for instance, is not mentioned in here, you can get a thread conversion chart. We have them here, or you can find one online that will convert that same color, say magenta. Maybe it has a different number or different name, and you want to know what that is in Floriani or Isocord or whatever. So you can get those. Now, inch or millimeter. I prefer inch, so when it gives me like how big an embroidery design is going to be on the screen, it will tell me in inches as opposed to millimeters. If you prefer millimeters, then by all means you can do that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead here to thumbnail size. Now this has to do with the built-in or imported embroidery designs that show up on your screen. How big are they? It's nice to have them fairly large so you can see, oh yeah, that looks like a flower or that looks like a pumpkin or whatever. But sometimes you want to see more on the screen, so you'd make your thumbnail size smaller. So that's what that has to do. These are nice for if you have a color of your background fabric. Say your background fabric, you want it to be red. So you push that instead. And then when you go to select your design, it shows what it looks like on red fabric. I'm going to go back to white here, and we can push OK. Now this is the selected or the different designs that you can select from. It would show them also on red or on black or whatever color you want. I'm going to go back. I'm going to just leave it on white for now. Then we've got page 6. This is your needle up or needle down position. So when you're done sewing, when you take your foot off the pedal or you push your stop button, the needle will stop either in the down position or on the up position, depending on what you have chosen right here. Now, I'm a quilter, so I tend to like to have my needle in the down position, but if you're a garment sewer, maybe you like to have it come up. It's a preference that you can change in your settings. Buzzer, if you turn that off, you don't have that little beep. Turn it on, there it is. You can also, now the opening screen is probably what you've noticed when you turn on your machine. There's some pictures here, touch the screen, and you're ready to go. But if you don't want to have that, if you want to just get right into sewing, you can turn that off. English, if that's your preferred language, leave it there. But if you want Spanish or any of a bunch of other languages, you can scroll through that and change that. Okay, now this is going to give you your light where you can turn that off. There may be situations, maybe you have a window behind you or you have a different light source, or you want to have your colors just right, a special light. You can turn your machine light off if you want to. Input sensitivity, I'm not going to start that right now, but because this is working just fine for me. But input sensitivity has to do with, say, the buttons on the screen are just not really working well for you. You can change that by going through, it steps you through the steps to do that. Different people have, I think, different magnetism or something where it may be necessary for you to do that. So the last one is your software version, and this just tells you what the software is in this machine. Now, to get out of this, just push OK, and you can push OK on any page to get out of your settings menu. But those are the basic settings and how you change things to customize your machine and make it a dream to sew with. I hope you found this video to be helpful. If you have, give us a thumbs up. And if you have comments or questions, you can leave those in the area down below. We have lots of other videos on this machine and on other machines here on our Montavilla YouTube channel, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Bye.